Alright, let's listen to lesson 3 and answer some questions, okay? Let's get started. Okay, please listen.
Part 1. Snow-capped Mount Fuji suddenly appeared on the horizon. Its gently sloping silhouette was colored pink by the morning sun, just as in a Katsushika Hokusai print. Watching its colors constantly changing in the shifting light, I was moved to tears. In this way, Donald Keene, a famous scholar of Japanese literature, described his first impression of seeing Mount Fuji. For Japanese people, Mount Fuji has a special role as a symbol of Japan. But the Japanese are not the only people who admire this mountain. That is obvious from the fact that more and more people who climb it each year come from abroad. When some of them were asked their perceptions of Mount Fuji, beautiful was by far the top answer, followed by majestic and mysterious. Aside from these positive aspects, Mount Fuji has another fearsome one. It is a living volcano. Records show that it once caused serious damage to areas as far away as Edo, now Tokyo, although it has remained quiet for several centuries. Both beautiful and frightening, Mount Fuji has always inspired the Japanese and has had a special place in their hearts.
How did Donald Keene describe his first impression of seeing Mount Fuji? He said that its gently sloping silhouette was colored pink by the morning sun, just as in the Katsushika Hokusai print, and that watching its colors constantly changing into the soft light, he was moved to tears. How did some people from abroad describe Mount Fuji? They described it as beautiful, majestic, and mysterious. What is a fearsome aspect of Mount Fuji? That it is a living volcano. Okay, keep on listening.
Part 2. Mount Fuji has been a motif of literature and art since the dawn of Japanese culture. Probably no other mountain has been painted by so many artists. The ukiyo-e prints of Hokusai and Hiroshige deserve particular mention. Hokusai's 36 Views of Mount Fuji is a series of highly imaginative depictions of people engaged in various activities with Mount Fuji in the background. Hiroshige's 53 stages on the Tokaido created a travel boom by showing the mountain from different locations along the Tokaido. Works like these ukiyo-e prints stamped the image of Mount Fuji on the Japanese mind, and it became a rich source of further artistic inspiration. These ukiyo-e also had a great influence on European painters. A print of Mount Fuji is clearly visible behind the man in a portrait by Vincent van Gogh. The French artist Henri Rivière even produced a series of prints entitled 36 Views of the Eiffel Tower in homage to Hokusai. In 2013, the Selection Committee of UNESCO added Mount Fuji to the World Heritage List with the following words. In particular, Mount Fuji ukiyo-e prints by Katsushika Hokusai and Utagawa Hiroshige had an outstanding impact on the development of Western art and have allowed the majestic form of Mount Fuji to be known around the world.
What role has Mount Fuji played since the dawn of Japanese culture? It has played a role as a motif of literature and art since the dawn of Japanese culture. Give an example of how ukiyo-e influenced European painters. A print of Mount Fuji is clearly visible behind the man in a portrait by Vincent van Gogh. The French artist Henri Riviere produced a series of paintings entitled 36 Views of the Eiffel Tower in homage to Hokusai. What did the selection committee of UNESCO add Mount Fuji to the World Heritage Site list? Because, in particular, the image of Mount Fuji in ukiyo-e print by Katsushika Hokusai and Utagawa Hiroshige had an outstanding impact on the development of Western art, and had allowed the majestic form of Mount Fuji to be known around the world. Okay, keep on listening.
Part 3. At dawn in summer, the summit of Mount Fuji is crowded with people reverently watching the rising sun. Mount Fuji has been a sacred mountain for the Japanese since ancient times, and its religious importance was the other reason for its selection as a World Heritage Site. The people of Japan have long been living in fear of Mount Fuji erupting someday. Because people believe that gods lived within the mountain, they built the Sengen shrines at Mount Fuji's base in order to pray for the gods to stop eruptions. Around the 12th century, Mount Fuji's volcanic activity subsided, and it became safe to climb the mountain. Some areas became important to a religious sect called Shugendo. It was a mixture of ancient Japanese mountain worship and Buddhism. In the 15th and 16th centuries, ordinary people guided by Shugendo practitioners began to climb the mountain for religious reasons. In the Edo period, this practice grew to be popular among people who belonged to a religious group called Fujiko. As a result, the mountain attracted more worshippers than ever before. The number of visitors again increased dramatically when Gotemba Station opened on the Tokaido Railway line in 1889. However, these visitors came for recreation rather than religious reasons.
What was the reason Mount Fuji was selected as a World Heritage Site? The reason is that it has been a sacred mountain for the Japanese since ancient times, and it has religious importance. Why was the Sengen Shrine built at Mount Fuji's base? Because people believed that gods lived within the mountain and wanted to pray for the gods to stop eruptions. What happened in the 15th and 16th centuries regarding people who climbed Mount Fuji? Ordinary people guided by Shugendo practitioners began to climb it for religious reasons. After the opening of Gotemba Station, what was the main purpose for visitors? It was for recreation. Okay, keep on listening.
Part 4. Today, Mount Fuji faces a serious threat. Illegal dumping and a lack of adequate huts, toilets, and other facilities have greatly damaged the environment. How could such things have happened to Mount Fuji, which is a precious World Heritage Site? Here is one explanation. The mountain straddles two prefectures, Shizuoka and Yamanashi. Surprisingly, the landlord of its summit is not the Japanese government or the two prefectures, but the Sengen Shrine. Therefore, it is said that there is no single organization to deal systematically with the mountain's various problems. That makes it difficult to take effective action. Surely we cannot allow this situation to continue. Steps will need to be taken to provide adequate facilities for visitors and to stop illegal dumping. Until now, we've turned a blind eye to the problems affecting Mount Fuji, says world-famous alpinist Noguchi Ken. Its registration as a World Heritage Site is a good reminder that the world will be watching what we do about them. Our ancestors who admired and revered Mount Fuji certainly expected it to remain beautiful forever. It is time for us to start thinking seriously about how to preserve Mount Fuji so that future generations will not be deprived of its beauty.
What threat does Mount Fuji face now? It faces a threat that illegal dumping and a lack of adequate huts, toilets, and other facilities have greatly damaged the environment. Why is it difficult to take effective action on the problem? Because there is no single organization to deal systematically with the mountain's various problems. According to the author, what should we start thinking seriously about? We should start thinking seriously about how to preserve Mount Fuji so that future generations will not be deprived of its beauty. Okay, see you soon. Goodbye.